I'll tell you later.
Okay.
All right, we got a couple minutes here before we get started, folks. We're gonna have my man MegaRan come on in exactly 3 minutes. Welcome to Killzone Interviews, everybody. The show where you know I interview people, you know, from near, far, wide. Whoever wants to be on the show, whoever doesn't have exposure, you know what I'm saying, they can always find it here on Killzone Interviews, you know, because I see a lot of artists, a lot of producers, gamers, actors, activists, whatever that they do, you know, they don't, or they oftentimes don't get enough exposure, you know, so, and they cry out for that. So I'm here for them. I'm here for the people. No politics, you know, no middleman, nobody standing over them saying, hey, you know, this isn't gonna work. And I'm here for you guys. So, you know, make sure you guys contact me at djKillzownJones at gmail.com. Like I say, today we're gonna have a artist, you know what I'm saying, that he is very, very prolific and amazing in his own right, you know, and he's madly original with his content. And you know, it doesn't hurt that he's a big gamer, you know. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to the world my friend Random, aka MegaRan. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what's going on, bro? I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, man. You know, just got over a cold, but we are still thugging it on out.
That's right. Something's going around right now. This is, at least out here, it's been a crazy time. Everybody around me is getting sick. I'm like walking around with like a protection mask on. Like I'm like telling people I can't afford to get sick. Like I don't understand. Like, more so than in the average situation, like me having to travel and perform and stuff. I can't be getting people sick, you know. So that's a really big part of it. So I cannot afford to get sick.
I heard that, my brother. I mean, that's always, you know, that's always a circumstance, you know, and like this time of year, because it's cold and flu season, so everybody is coughing, and you looking around like, okay, and then we got the, you know, Ebola scare that happened a few months ago, and it looks like it's under control, you know, but, you know, you just gotta, you know, with that type of stuff, man, I'm a praying man, so I stay prayed up when these type of situations go down, you know, with all the other added craziness that's going on. Yeah, man, I just gotta stay prayed up, but you know, let's go ahead and get it started. I've been wanting to do this interview for a long time, you know, because you're somebody I look up to in the hip hop and gaming community. You know, you along with Hip Hop Gamer and Tribe One, you know, you guys are my inspirations to actually come back to the rap game, because I've heard your name in different circles and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, Random, MegaRan. He's, you know, one day I look up, you're on Capcom's website, and next day I look up you're at E3, you know, sitting down with the creator of Mega Man, you know what I'm saying, and then I look up again, I'm at PAX East. And you're at PAX East, and you just came this like St. Louis 2 weeks ago. I'm like, man, I feel like, you know, I feel like we're best friends at this point, you know. No pun intended, you know, because he does have a song called "Best Friend" with Mr. Wilson, you know, on the Blur Bomber EP. You should go get that. But you know, MegaRan, like, kind of introduce yourself, man. Tell everybody who doesn't know, because I'm sure there's people out there who doesn't know. Because I'm trying to get your name bigger than Jay-Z around here. So tell the people at home who you are, where you from, and little something like that.
All right. Well, my name is Random, aka MegaRan. I was born Raheem in a little town called Philadelphia, and I've been a fan of hip hop for pretty much as long as I can remember.
Hmm.
Being a kid, child of the '80s and '90s, grew up basically with hip hop, and so it's always been a part of me. As has gaming, So I feel like they've all been kind of hand in hand. And
Hmm.
one day I just got this crazy idea to just put them both together, and just try to just be myself and have fun, and just reflect these two like huge cultures that were such a big part of me. And that's been where I've been going, and that's been the plan ever since. Gosh, I guess about the mid 2000s. Things have been kind of going pretty well, and it's been decent. It's taken me to some great places, and I was a teacher for a very long time, and I actually resigned from teaching to do music full time about 4 years ago, and since then I have been uh, struggling, but living the dream, at the same time.
Hmm.
And the dream is always it's not always easy, It where's Langston Hughes and ain't no crystal stair, but um,
Hmm.
but it's a fun journey, and I learn more about myself and what I'm doing and the people and the culture more and more every day. So
Hmm.
so I'm in a really unique position where I don't really know many other people doing what I do. I mean, shout out to Hip Hop Gamer and guys like that that are making moves within hip hop and gaming. But I feel like me and him are we're kind of knocking on the door of like uncharted territory. So
Hmm.
so it's a good time right now, and things are working well. We just constantly working on how to take it to the next level.
Yeah, man. I mean, and like I say, I admired you because for the longest time, I felt like I was the only one. You know what I'm saying? And I look out, I'm like, man, you got these two brothers that's really, you know what I'm saying? That's really serious about their craft, and they really, really, are business oriented and business minded. And then you friends of the of the people. Like you're not one of those artists that it's not approachable. You got this big PR team and everything else like that, and kind of just being a celebrity. And I like guys like you that are very, very, humble. You know what I'm saying? And you never forget where you come from, man. I heard you got the new single out, the Philadelphia Way.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You never forget where you from. I actually was out in Philly in the early '90s, around Fresh Prince time, and I came up around there, and I never knew it was a guy not too far from where I was. Not
Mhm.
visiting in the summertime. I would be there for 3 months, so it was almost like a quarter of my life spent out there.
Mhm.
I didn't know it was a guy like me that was out there because I felt like I was the only one. Because you know, but it's very, 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 nice to notice other folks out there that kind of had the same similar interests that loved video games, but also love hip hop, and then trying to bring them and bridge the gap together because there's not that many people doing it. So, kind of tell me, like, what was the first, the first time you experienced hip hop and the first time that you experienced gaming?
Wow. Okay. So my first hip hop memory, man, gosh, it's probably Grandmaster Flash and Furious Five, the message.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
hearing that on the radio, don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge. And and at the time, just kind of singing along to it because it was catchy, but not necessarily listening to the lyrics. This
Hmm.
is this is kind of I guess a common thing in hip hop even today, where people just hear a beat and hear a chorus and be like, "Yeah, that's great." But it made me dig a little deeper, and I started listening to the lyrics, and man, it was some real stuff, like broken glass everywhere, things like that. So
Hmm.
they were talking about life in the ghetto, and that's what drew me to hip hop. It wasn't all
Hmm.
sunshine and roses and baby baby I love you. It was some real stuff, and so. that's what got me into hip hop. That's my earliest memory. My next earliest one though is Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. It Takes Two.
Oh yeah.
And the way I remember that is it's a weird way because there was I lived in Philadelphia. I lived in the area that wasn't the roughest, but it was really close to some rough areas. It was like northwest Philly. So there was a crack house on my street, for lack of a better word. And because this was the '80s, and crack was popping. So and there was a guy who was like a constant. I guess he was a dealer at the crack house who would walk up and down the street and have the flyest kicks, the flyest sweatsuit, the flyest bucket hat, the flyest gazelle shades, and a boombox. And his name was Raymond. And he would always carry this boombox, and every single time he was playing It Takes Two. And so he'd be walking up the street with the shell toe Adidas, just sparkling white, like the ill sweatsuit, and bumping It Takes Two like constantly. And that beat is just so catchy and infectious. And so that was my second biggest memory of hip hop, just seeing it right in front of me. I was like, that's what hip hop is. Like and it made me think like that's what it was. Like it was being flashy, being fly, and having the music up loud and having a great beat and just being able to rock out. And so those are my two like most vivid early memories of hip hop, And gaming though, I would say it'd have to be my barbershop down the street from me in Philly had a Miss Pac-Man machine, and we would spend pretty much all our money in there. I would go get a haircut, but then I would also come back. I would come back in there whenever I wanted to play a game, and then I would wind up spending all my money. We got to the point where we would save lunch money and not even eat lunch and just spend it on games.
I heard that, man.
And so going through those days, and then getting an Atari for Christmas, getting an Atari 2600, and playing Pac-Man all night, sitting right in front of the TV, like 3 inches away, just like experiencing this whole thing. Like this is the greatest thing ever. That and Yar's Revenge and all this cool stuff on 2600, and my babysitter would let me stay up all night and play. Like she was supposed to put me to bed, but she was out trying to, get her swerve on. So it was. I mentioned a little bit of that in the Grow Up song. I talk about my babysitter on the couch trying to get her freak on. Like that was what was going on while I was upstairs all night, just sitting in front of the TV playing games. But
make sure you didn't come down there and bust it up.
Exactly. So that was what happened. Those are definitely my earliest memories of hip hop and games. And it's just funny that it took, I don't know, that was the '80s. So at least it took 30 years almost before I thought, that I could put these together, And, I always feel like, man, I wasted so much time. But, everything's in due time, and it just was a matter of putting everything together and the timing being right. So, it's all about timing.
Okay. So, you mentioned earlier about, your boy that was out there on the block, and I actually heard on Trap, the Trap EP that you put out, the story about that, it was a guy on there. Was that the same person, or?
No, that wasn't the same guy. This guy was a friend of mine that I came up with in school. Raymond, the dope dealer, wasn't necessarily a friend of mine, but he was older. But I just kind of watched him from afar, and watched and kind of picked up some game from him, But I was more a little kid looking out the window at those ages. But but there was a kid. The kid from Black Bags is the kid that I grew up with. A kid named Kwame, and I hope he's doing all right. But I haven't talked to him in a very long time. And unfortunately, man, so many of the stories from the city, and I mean, I'm sure you could relate and tell the same story, man. Is that there's so many stories from the city and people from the city that you come up with that are talented, that are great at what they do, that have a good amount of passion, but just maybe made one wrong turn somewhere in life, and and it wasn't able to turn back, and it's unfortunate, but everybody knows someone like that, man. I know people that probably could have been in the NBA, probably could have been on TV every day making money, making music, but we're addicted to the hustle, and it is what it is. It's a very sad thing, but that's why, in a non-corny way, and it's going to sound corny, but I want to kind of to show these kids that there is another way, So I always come back to the block, and they see me, and they're like, "Yo, you're doing it, man. I saw you on this. I saw you there and there." And I'm like, "Well, I haven't made it anywhere yet, but I'm working on it, And I want them to see that good guys can win, So every time you see me on Facebook, I'm always making sure to try to post positive things, positive images of good people doing good things, because that goes a long way, man. Because it's easy to get down on yourself and down on society and be like, man, it's nothing but bad out here. The only way you can make it anywhere is to be bad and to be evil and double cross people, and it's not always true, man. Good guys can win, man. Like I can reel off a bunch of them, man. No one would know who they are, but I guess that's the point. Is that good guys might not get they may not get the recognition, but good guys can win. So I will say that there is an alternative, and that's why, like, I mean, I've been able to make records for like 7 years without using like profanity in the records. Like, how is that even possible? Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I just want people to look at the things that are able to be accomplished, and think like, wow, this is a guy who's never been on MTV, BET, VH1, and is able to somehow make a living doing what he loves to do, So there are ways, man, and it's. I just hope that kids and adults see that, and and understand it.
And that and that's why I brought that up, because that was kind of sort of my story. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been able to lead a gig behind yet, but like I say, cats like you inspire me, and like you said earlier, man, like reaffirm that there are other ways to win. And I think that people don't get to see that, coming from the inner city and and from the ghetto, they don't get to see that. They just see the struggle. They see, they see that dope man on the corner, and they want to be like him. You know what I'm saying? They don't aspire, to be anything else. And what I found also, positive on black bags or whatever, that you say you used to go to the bodega, and the hustlers will pull you to the side and tell you not to come around there. You know what I'm saying? You don't get that no more. I had a experience similar to that, and I like I say, I feel like I'm not that hustler, but I feel like I'm that guy that's reaffirming that message. You know what I'm saying? And I carry that with me, because it's something when somebody in that position respects you, you know what I'm saying, in the same way that you may have respect or admiration for what they do and they accomplish, and they're looking right back at you, and they look up to you more, and that's that's a blessing. So Rand, so when you decided to start making records, you say you were a teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like, how did you go from teaching, into making hip hop records, and then how did you do that in Philly, like, where I know it's kind of like Philly and St. Louis is kind of the same, where we got a lot of talent, but only a few people really make it. You know what I'm saying? So, how did you get over that that slump of of being a new artist out there, and then branching out and putting your name out there, and how are you able to quit your job teaching to become, a full-time artist?
Well, I always gave both of those like a full-time effort, between music and teaching. Um, and I always told myself I would do both for as long as I could. And at that time, I didn't see a way out of teaching. Like I wasn't necessarily looking for a way out because I liked it. So, I gave my all to teaching. I taught middle school, a little bit in Philly, and then I moved to Phoenix. I just was tired of the weather situations out there being rough, and I don't know. It just one day I was like, all right, I had enough. It snowed in like late March, maybe like early April one year, and I was just like, all right, I'm out of here. So, look, good thing about being a teacher is you can teach almost anywhere, So it's probably the best job to have when you have other passions, I would say, not to say that you want to jump out of it like a good transitional job, but it's good. It's a good thing that you can do other things on the side because you have your nights and your weekends and your summers off to do whatever you want to do. And so I was still making music and things and put out the MegaRan album in 2007. But it just kind of shows you how everything's a slow grind because 2007, I thought I was on top of the world when Capcom called me and was like, "Hey, this is cool. Like, we want to license you." And I was like, "What? Like, I'm good. I'm in the money. This is great." But no, it didn't actually turn out that way. Capcom's never written me a check for people who have always thought that, Capcom does not pay my bills in any way. So I'm more like an independent contractor who occasionally works for Capcom and occasionally works for someone else. So therefore, I can feel free to say what I want to say about a particular video game and never want to be that guy who's just like, I got to be the corporate guy. And, so I wanted to be able to speak my mind, and that was very important. And so I'm thinking I'm in 2007. I'm going to Comic-Con and going to E3 and going to GDC and hanging out with some cool people, but I'm going right back to work, and while the rest of them are just living it up, I got to go back to work. We're like, then things start, I guess, rolling again in 2009 when they asked me to do the MegaRan 9 album, which was attributed to the Mega Man 9 game. So did that, and then things started working out because I made this song called Splash Woman, and Splash Woman seemed to like kind of pop up and bubble a little bit and became like my biggest song. And so I started traveling a little more, performing. And then 2010, I worked with K Murdoch and made the Forever Famicom album. And then that did well, and we went and toured a little more. And then 2011, I was like, all right, I'm gonna break not necessarily break the internet, but I'm about to do something that's gonna be big, and I knew it because it was something I was super passionate about, and I wanted to make it for the longest. And it was Black Materia, which is a Final Fantasy VII album. I didn't realize how big Final Fantasy VII was, but it was huge, and I loved it, and it was coming up on like an anniversary of the release, and I'm always big on anniversaries, and so I worked on it for a year. I put it out, and the thing just snowballed downhill from there. Like, so it took 4 years from my initial idea, and just kind of keeping with it. And that's really what the message I want to give to people is that longevity is so important. Like I could have easily been a flash in the pan guy. Like if I had never made anything after MegaRan, I don't know if I'd be here. It's one of those things where you got to be able to follow it up and go bigger and better, and that's what happened. And so Black Materia pops up on first page of Reddit, and I was in school teaching that day, and my phone starts blowing up with notifications, and people are texting me like, "Yo, man, yo, this is big. Like, yo, you're on Reddit," and I'm like, "This is 2011," so I'm like, "What the heck is Reddit? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about." And they're like, no, that's like the front page of the internet. Like, everything's there. And so I'm like, okay. Then I start getting emails from like Game Informer and then PlayStation Magazine and like Nintendo Power and all these people who want to talk to me. And it's like, whoa, this is big. And so at that point, that summer, I was like, all right, I think I'm about ready to try to take this leap. And so yeah, it was summer of 2011 that I wrote my school a resignation letter and stepped away into the sunset and started working on the album that would become my next year's album, which was Language Arts. And that was loosely based on my experience as a teacher, but also being a teacher who wants to save the world, you know, and sometimes getting hit and running into that glass ceiling and realizing that there's only so much you can do, and just being frustrated with that. And that was what was happening to me in school. And so, without saying too much, my school was not very happy about me stepping off, and and that led to some legal battles even. And so,
wow,
meanwhile,
legal battles.
Yeah, and I haven't really told too much of this story, but yeah, like my school basically tried to sue me when I quit, like because they tried to say there was some sort of that I abandoned my job for another job, when I really didn't. Like I said, I'm an independent contractor. I don't have any contracts with Capcom, with SquareSoft, with anybody. You know, I just make music, and then I make music and sit at home and listen to it and email it to people. But you know, and so, and I travel and play shows, but they were like, he's signing a deal with Capcom. He's leaving his contracted position to go sign another contract, and they tried to sue me. And so, and it wasn't true. Like, it just was not true. And so that was a weird situation, because I tried to have Capcom get my back, and they weren't really responsive in that part. And so, but that kind of just helped my case. I was like, see, they're not even responding. Like, you see, like I told you, I don't work for them. You know what I mean? So it kind of helped my case at the same time. But it also let me know that I'm on my own in this. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to doing something, like I said, this is uncharted territory. This is a place where no one's really been. Still, the laws and legality of what I even do is still questioned and still being figured out. You know, like cover songs and versus like video game music, and when you add lyrics and it becomes a derivative, and there's so many weird things and jargon and words that I'd never heard before that explain what I do in a legal sense. But it's a difficult place to be, but I welcome the challenge, man. Like I taught 12-year-olds, like I can do anything. You know what I mean? So I do believe that, and so I just kind of took that you know, that mentality and that hustle, and just took that and put it into music full time, and it's been going pretty well ever since, man.
And that's that, man. Wow, that's awesome, man. That you know that you was just able to push, and you know what I'm saying, and keep going, and amidst all of that turmoil, you still persevered. I mean, you know, you last year, you know, well, actually earlier this year when I met you, you had already put out Black Material. You just had dropped Blur Bomber. You know, we were at Star Clipper down in the U City Loop. And I mean, you tore it down, man. Like, you had a packed house, and you know, you had a lot of people come in to check you out, and they came and far and wide, you know, to come and see, you know, you put it down, and all of us huddled together. You know, me, you know, the Geekly Podcast crew, and shout out to them, by the way.
Yeah, those are my people. Like, they've been supportive for so long. I mean, they got a great show, and they're great people. So big shout out to the Geekly Podcast, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Same thing here. Once we linked up, we hadn't looked back since. But anyway, I mean, I see you now. You know, you're doing shows. You did the Megalomania documentary, and how did you put together this documentary Ran, where you pretty much break down, you know how you put your shows together, you know, what is touring life like, It's very, very professionally made. Like, how were you able to pull that off, the Megalomania documentary?
Man, you know, I'm nothing without a great director in that situation. Just happened to fall into my lap. A guy named Michael Cardoza, who had just moved to Phoenix from El Paso. He was into he was doing music video direction, and he always wanted to do a feature length or a documentary. And he came to some of my shows, and he's like, "Man, you should let me film you." And I was like, "Man, get out of here! Like, I don't want a camera up my butt for, you know, for days. Like, I don't want to do that, like a reality show. Like, I don't think I can handle that." And he's like, "Yeah, man, like you should let me film you. Like, I think it would be really interesting. It'd be dope." And so it just kind of worked out, and I was like, "But it has to be something different. Like, it's got to be really cool. Like, we got to do this thing right if we do it." And so fast forward, I met a really dope band called the Low Classics out here, and we played a couple shows together, and people really loved it. And they were like, "Oh, wow, like, this is great." And I was like, "Yes, this is great." And so I decided we should go together on the road and then have Mike film that, so that this is something that's never been seen and may not ever happen again. Like, it's super hard to get a band on the road and to travel with them. So so what we did was we got two cars, two vans, and we hit the road, and we did about 3 shows in a weekend. We did Phoenix, we did LA and Vegas, and then we filmed all of it. And he's like, "I'm going to be following y'all. I'm going to be running the camera like at all times. Like, so, you know, just be yourselves." And we did. And then later on, we came back and we like gave a whole wrap up and an overview of what I do and what the tour is like. And it came out really, really well, man. Like, I looked at it and I was just like, wow, man, like, this is so professional. You know, I've never been a part of anything this professional looking in my life. And you know, I always thought I had a face for radio. But then seeing the video, I was just like, oh wow, like, this is really great, man. And so after that, we did a release party here in Phoenix at a film place called the Film Bar, and like sold it out. Like, I was completely like overjoyed, man. Like, it did really well. People loved it, and they loved it so much that we decided this is something that maybe the rest of the nation needs to see. And so what we did, and I know all about marketing music. I can sell music or make music and put music in front of people, but I don't know anything about how to put a film in front of people, you know. And so that was a world that I hadn't known anything about. And so when I looked into it, it was like, dang, this is expensive. And so, like, getting stuff to all these different film festivals and film reviewers and all this stuff is very expensive. Not to mention, they want a feature-length film, which is they want something that's, I guess, at least 60 minutes long. And so you got to deal with that. And my film was only 35 minutes at that time. So it was like, we got to reshoot, we got to recut, we got to re-edit, we got to interview more people, and then we got to market it to people. So that's when I went to Kickstarter. We finished that up. We thankfully were able to reach 300% of our goal with the support.
300%, not 100, but 300.
For the, yeah, man. Like, that was crazy, man. Crazy.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Rand, but that's like, you know what I'm saying? That's how you know you got a loyal fan base, and that's how you know you got you know, people that are just love and supportive of you. You know what I'm saying? For you to have to go back, you know what I'm saying, and do all the extra stuff to get, you know, into film festivals and get, you know, releases outside of your area, you know, and you're doing all of this out of pocket, you know, and you know what I'm saying, that's fantastic, man. That is just fantastic. So so forgive me, my brother, for cutting in, but I just had to say, you know, that right there is fantastic, my brother, and my hat goes off to you on that.
Thank you, man.
Speaking of which, you got a record with 1/4 of the Slaughterhouse, Joel Ortiz.
1/4 of the Slaughter, yes.
Yeah, and then you got Murs on the same record, one of the biggest underground MCs right now. Tell everybody about Losses, man. I gotta know how did this come about? How did this amazing record come about?
Man, these things like this happen. I don't know. I would say they only happen to me, but I guess they happen to other people because it gets ridiculous. Like people, things like this when they happen for me, they're always like crazy. So this one particularly was, it was wild because it turned out that uh, I think it was at South by Southwest. I did a show and I wound up running into Joel Ortiz's manager.
Mhm.
Joel thought that me and him would sound good together, and so when we were chatting about that and trying to make it happen, it sounded like, all right, this is going to work. And so we started working on some things, and this was probably 2 years ago now. Um, we had some situations come up where we lost track of each other, and I was on tour and he was on the road and things like that. And so we finally sat down years later and we're like, let's do it. And so we did it, and it turned out really, really well. Like we had a good time, and the song came together nice, but it wasn't finished. I didn't have a chorus, I didn't have a third verse, and so I was like, all right, what am I going to do? I don't want to just put out a song with two verses. I'm going to just kind of sit on this and figure it out. Plus, I was in the moment where I don't remember what album was out at the time, but probably Trap maybe was out, and it didn't really fit with that. So it was something that would had to wait. Like subject wise, it did, but not necessarily music wise. So I wound up putting it into a like a little vault, place where all of my future songs are sitting, and I wound up hanging out with Murs just at a show or something like that. I think we met at a show, and now I'm lucky enough to say that he's like my OG now. Like we're at the point where I can hit him up for advice, and he helps me out, and he talks to me about things like that. And he said he was scouting for paid dues. Like looking back now, this is he told me that he ran into me because someone put me on his radar because of paid dues. Now, so he was looking around for guys for paid dues, and me and him somehow crossed paths, and we started chatting, and just super super cool dude. Like he's the most humble cat like I've ever met in this business. But so we started talking. He's like, "What are you working on, man?" And I was like, "Well, working on some new stuff. I got a few things in the vault that I haven't touched yet, but one of them, man, is the song with Joel Ortiz." He's like, "What? You got a song with Joel?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Like I'm excited, man." And he had never met Joel. He was just like, "Hell, man, that sounds crazy." He's like, "You gotta let me hear it." And so I let him hear it. And he's like, "Yo, this is dope. You should let me get on this." And I was like, "Wait, what? You for real?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, let me get on it." I was like, "Okay." So, I mean, I wasn't gonna say no to the big homie. So I said, "Absolutely, man, you can hop on it." So he got on it, and then I found a great singer in Phoenix, Tina Estes, who laid down some like fire for the hook, and the song was done. And 2 years later, the song was completed, and I hit up Joel and his people like, "Yo, the song's done. Like, take a listen." And his manager really was into it. He's like, "Yo, this is dope." And so here we go. It was time to put it out. So we put it out, and maybe 2 years later, and that's the good thing about making music that doesn't have an expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that it's still just as relevant today as it was 2 years ago. So it came out, did really well, got a lot of great coverage, and we did a remix contest, and it's actually still going to be on my next solo project, which comes out hopefully this summer. So it's still going to be on that project. It just captures a mood and a moment of where I was at the time. So I think it really needs to be a part of this record. So yeah, that was the story of Losses. Like it was a 2 year project, like 2 year song. Like I don't think I've ever taken that long with any other song.
Okay, that's amazing, man. Like you had that in the stash, just ready to go.
I keep songs in the stash.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I keep trash bags with me. But I keep songs in the stash, man. No question. Like, I have songs that are for different moods. Like I said, I'm working on trap stuff, and this has a different sound. I'm working on some chiptune, chip hop stuff, has a different sound. I'm working on some Mega Man stuff. It's got a different sound. So I have music for almost every mood, and they have to sit sometimes because they have to wait their turn. You know what I mean? And that was one of them. And so yeah, man, I'm super excited about this next project though. That and the Soul Veggies album, which is coming next month. So this year is gonna be crazy good for new music for me. Like,
and that's the project you got with Storyville, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I saw well, not saw the video, but I was listening to the Veggie Platter, and I heard how you guys you guys had worked together, pretty much on every one of your projects, and that you decided, okay, it's time to make a collaborative effort on this. And you actually brought Storyville to my attention because I never heard of Storyville, like, as an artist. I've seen him featured on, like, on some of your tracks, for production and stuff like that. And then he was like, oh yeah, I was on the call, the 8-bit anniversary edition, so I had to go back and listen. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty dope. Then you just did the MegaRan commission. You had a lot of people kickstart and and contribute to that. How was that? I mean, because you literally made an album. I saw you were doing collaborations. You were doing you were doing a lot of rewards and kickbacks to the Kickstarters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you put that together? Because that is a crazy project.
Man, well, thank you for telling me that's a crazy project. That's something that, unlike the rest of the stuff I do on that in the Mega Man vein, usually it's me taking the story of Mega Man, kind of putting myself into that character and working around all those cool things. This one was much different because I took commissions from the people. They asked, I basically took ideas, like if you wanted me to use a particular song, I would use that song, but it wouldn't necessarily be in the process of a connecting story like all the rest of the Mega Man albums. So they're just songs, but with the backing beats that are selected by different people. And so that's what came together from that. And these are a lot of songs that I worked on at different times, maybe didn't get to finish, but had some ideas for, but didn't finish up. And so I went back in the studio, I kind of stripped them all down, re-recorded them, worked on new stuff, wrote new stuff, and put it all together again. K Murdoch mixed it and mastered it, made it sound all good. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun doing that. Like, it came together really well for me. Storyville's on there as well. He does the intro. So it was the guests were great on there. From Bag of Tricks Cat, the Germicide. Some of those, let me think. I think the song with Germicide, the Kickstarter backers had that song first because they got that song maybe 2 years ago. No, last year during a commission thing I do. Usually during the Kickstarters, I always do a commission package where if you pay a certain amount, I'll make a song about whatever you want, and then I'll mention your name in it. And so that was just taking that idea to the next level. And the album came out really great, man. Like, I really like it a lot. Then I got an email from Overclock Records, who spawned from OC Remix, and they wanted to release the album and distribute it through Overclock Records. And I was like, absolutely, man. Like, I love those guys. They've been super supportive. So now you can grab the album at overclockrecords.com.
Okay. Shout out to Overclock Records and OC Remix cats over there. So now I gotta ask you this question. So Lil Wayne and Drake go on tour with Capcom. Comes out of nowhere. Nobody's anticipating it. Drake just dropped his album. Lil Wayne dropped like 8 singles. Most of them fire, but a couple of them, I didn't like, but other people did. And I'm like, okay, where's MegaRan? Where's this is Capcom? We got Drake, Lil Wayne. You can get MegaRan to open up the show. Kind of reel folks in, because you got big enough fan base now. You would get people that probably don't listen to Lil Wayne or Drake to come, and there's no disrespect to them. Much love and respect to them, but you know what I'm saying? You're MegaRan. You know what I'm saying? You're Capcom co-signed. You know what I'm saying? You've done stuff with them, and this is a tour that they're sponsoring. They have you as an artist. You know what I'm saying? I know I wouldn't say you and Lil Wayne make kind of similar music, but I know you and Drake kind of make music that makes people think it's not all party music with you guys, or always having a good time. He talks about certain things that most other rappers don't talk about, and that's kind of why he's in the position that he's in right now. But why didn't they put you on the tour? Like,
why didn't they?
Yeah,
I wish I knew. There's so many. You know what? Because I'm not platinum. I mean, that's the best answer I could think of. Is because I'm not a platinum recording artist. That's why. It's that. Oh man, and it's so funny. I was on tour. It's like it's perfect for my life. Like when I found out about that, I was riding in a minivan. We were in New York. We were playing in Brooklyn that day. Or no, I think we played. Yeah, we played in Brooklyn. And so we're riding through Brooklyn in a minivan, stuck in traffic, and like trying to find parking spots. And we look on the wall, and in New York they still do this, where someone puts a poster on the wall, and there's like 1,000 posters all on this one area of a wall. And so it says Lil Wayne versus Drake while we're stuck in traffic, and it's like perfect. Like while you're in your miserable broke life and hating everything, you look, and it's Lil Wayne versus Drake, sponsored by Capcom, and you're like, whoa. And so I just kind of laughed it off, but my friend I was with, Tim, D&D Sluggers, he's like, so they couldn't call you for that? And I was like, well, I guess they just had other things to do. It's cool. And I just instantly shrugged it off. And he was like, well, I don't know about you, but I would be pissed off if that happened to me. And I was like, yeah, but it's cool. And then Sky Blue was in the back seat. And he's like, yeah, man, that's kind of messed up. And everybody's just like, man, I would be so angry. And I was like, okay, y'all, okay, I'm mad. I hate it. This is some BS. I got so mad. And I was like, this is whack. How in the world? But anyway, to short answer for your question, I'm not rich enough. I noticed that especially companies, they're corporations. Their job is to make more money and to put themselves in front of new people. Capcom needs Young Money way more than Young Money needs Capcom, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I seen that they had been having some financial troubles, but I mean, at the end of the day, shout out to Capcom, but I mean, you gotta holler at your boy. I mean, you've been holding them down, PLP hold it down.
PLP hold it down, baby.
Yeah, and it's that was kind of they had an interactive app, and I'm like, man, they could have put MegaRan on there, and so then let me ask you this question. Now that Inafune has made the Mighty Number 9, and that has a whole different story and everything to itself. But how do you feel now that Mega Man, the creator of Mega Man, has left the company and is literally making a match to Mega Man with the Mighty Number 9?
Oh man, I'm excited. This should be really, really interesting. I mean, of course, as you know, I kind of like Mega Man. I think Mega Man's all right, and so having a new generation Mega Man like character just for this, that will play the same and that's by the same people with the same amount of care and love that the classic Mega Man series got. I'm all for it. I'm 1,000% behind it, man. Like I can't wait to see. And I'm not the type. I'm not into previews. I'm not into trailers. I'm not into betas. I'm not into any of that stuff really. So I try to stay away from stuff until it's final, because I don't want to be spoiled or get angry or anything like that. Because like you play a game that's early and then like, whoa, it has some glitches in it because it's not done yet. So don't get too attached because we're going to change things, you know. So at that point, I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to play it. So I have not played any betas. I haven't watched a whole lot of footage, just a little bit. But some of my friends have played it and they said it's cool. But I haven't watched any of it because I just want to experience it. You know, I want to take me back to the 80s and 90s where you got that new game, you rip off the package, you read the instruction manual, and you pop it in, and you just go. You know, and that's what I want when Mighty Number 9 comes out. So I'm really excited. Like I don't know when it's coming, but I'm excited. Like it sounds really cool.
Okay. So you recently put out the 2014 year in gaming, or the year in gaming 2014. You did it last year for the first time. I put it on Target Practice Mixtapes Volume 11, nice. And how did, like, I know Skills VA, you know, used to do the year. Well, actually, he's back doing it now.
He's back. Shout out to Skills. I don't. Well, I'm gonna stop you there. I mean, I definitely don't want anybody to think that what I'm doing is taking anything away from what Skills has done, or even in any way connected, or things like that. I mean, it's obviously inspired. It's a similar thing, but far as I knew, Skills had stopped doing it. I'm gonna say that, you know. So, and I was not planning to make it a yearly thing. I just did it last year, and then a lot of people asked me about it. And then I did it again. So I don't know if it'll be a yearly thing, because like if I'm on the road or I'm not able to do it, I just won't do it. But you know, and I don't want it to just be a news report. And I was halfway through it, I was like, wait, let me stop this, and I scrapped it because I felt like I was just telling the news. And I feel like as an independent artist that has no connections to any particular, you know, companies or things like that, I can speak my mind. So I'm going to talk about some things that I thought, you know, that were disappointing or that were great. And so I just decided to have some fun with it. And that's why I did it. And some people say it's better than last year's, and I appreciate that. But the only reason I did it was just so I could have some, just be loose with it. And that's the only way I was going to do it, you know, without any restrictions, you know. No ceilings, like Lil Wayne said. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? You know what? I don't, and I wasn't gonna say like you were. I mean, I knew it was inspired, but I mean, like nobody did it for, you know, gaming. And I thought about doing it for the longest time, but when I did it, it wasn't as good and cohesive. It was over like a different type of beat, and I got in that rut where, you know, I was kind of doing the same thing, but then when you came out with it, I'm like, okay, great. I don't have, you know, the weight is off my shoulders. I got, you know, I got Ran to listen to, and you really did your thing. I don't think it's a bite or a rip, and I hope you can do it every year, because 2013, you know, was, I would say, awesome as far as games go, and this year it was awesome, but we had a lot of remixes and remakes and repackaging, you know, kind of same the way we had in hip hop with, you know, with Nas and Biggie and everybody who came back out again, you know, this year. Man, I mean, I just that was a lyrical treat, you know, because I was like, man, is he gonna do it again? Is he gonna do it again? And I look on Real Gaming News. You know, John, shout out to John. We're simulcasting right now on the website. He puts it up there. I'm like, oh, snap. I stopped everything I was doing and just listened. I'm like, man, he really turned it out. And like I told you earlier, we were talking off air about Shadows of Mordor. I was like, oh, man, this ending. I'm like, I've been playing the hell out of it, and I'm like, now, okay, this ending. I'm wondering what this ending is going to be about. Since, you know.
Well, I mean, enjoy the game though, because it's don't rush through it to try to finish it. That's all I'm saying. Because the last half hour is a letdown. My man Vince Vandal, he schooled me. He definitely schooled me to it, and then he witnessed it live because I played it on Twitch. I streamed it while I was beating it, and he was like, "I told you, man." I was like, "This is whack." But anyway, but the game is great. It plays really great, but just don't rush through. Like, just enjoy it. You know,
Go through, take out all the orcs, all the war chiefs, captains, and all that, right?
Yeah. Do a lot of that stuff. Do a bunch of side missions. Have fun, and then when you're ready, go beat the game. And because if you just do the necessary missions, it's pretty fast. So take your time.
So speaking of gaming, like, what games did you like playing, growing up? And then, like, what games are you playing now and looking forward to later? Let's just start one at a time.
Okay, that was like a 17-part question here.
Yeah.
So, what did you like? Where did you grow up? Who did you like? And what didn't you like? And put those in alphabetical order. Okay, go. All right, but games I played growing up, I mean, I was a huge Nintendo and Super Nintendo head. So all the Mega Man games, then into the Mega Man X games, all the Mario games, anything Mario, anything Zelda, anything Sonic, I was all over it. Out of This World is a very slept-on game, but I played that a whole lot. I just started playing that again, actually, on Super Nintendo. Contra, Super Contra, and all that cool stuff. Tecmo Bowl was probably my favorite.
Oh yeah, Tecmo Bowl,
Super Tecmo Bowl, like with Bo Jackson and all that. But yeah, man, like then today, my favorite games. I love the Metal Gears. I love Uncharted. I love BioShock. I love the Tomb Raider. The new Tomb Raider is really great. I love Halo. Those are probably my favorites of the last couple of generations, and games that I still play. Like I'm really excited about the new Halo and all that stuff. But yeah, man, I like any type of game, man. Like I'm not just into one game. I'm a role playing guy sometimes, maybe mostly Japanese role playing. Sports, like I'll play basketball, I'll play some hockey, I'll play some soccer, and some Madden, of course. But let's see, fighting games. My favorite fighting game series is Soul Calibur. I really do like Killer Instinct as well, and Mortal Kombat looks pretty cool too. But yeah, that's basically what I'm into. I'm into pretty much anything. I'll play anything once, but I won't play everything twice.
So, Rand, like, what out of all the projects, because you got a lot of projects, a lot of content, like, what is your favorite project that you've done to date, like, as far as, your records? Like,
I'm sorry, you broke up a little. What was
that? What was your favorite project that you, out of all the projects that you dropped, what is your personal favorite?
Oh man, you can't do that. You can't make me choose my favorite child tonight. That's not nice. Well, I mean, there's certain songs that stick with me though, but they're the songs that nobody likes. Like I'll pull songs out like Push. It's still one of my favorites. Man, like the Forever Famicom album, the MegaRan 9 album. Gosh, The Call. I like everything I do. I wouldn't put it out, but there's definitely things I like more than that. It's more than others, I would say. So, but full albums, like I love the Trap album. I play it a lot. I actually work out to it because it's short enough where I could throw it on during like a treadmill run or something and go through it, and I'm singing the words to keep me going as well. I love the River City Random stuff. And language arts is probably my favorite though because it took the longest to put together, and it's a story that I've always wanted to tell. You know, like from the moment I started teaching, I thought
Mm.
language arts is going to be me. That's going to be my thing. And so I wanna expand it a little bit. I've been talking to some guys at a comic book company called Dark City Comics that are actually working on an expansion. Big shout out to J1 Studios who put together the MegaRan and language arts comic and characters. But we're working on like a gritty reboot of the MegaRan and language arts story with less like superpowers and more kind of Batman, more Daredevil, more like regular guy with just like a irregular like responsibility kind of thing. And so I'm looking forward to that and just expanding that story a lot more. I can see language arts on plays, like doing like on stage. Like I think that the language arts franchise, when it's all said and done, will be the thing, and I want it to be the thing that I'm known for the most. And which is crazy because I'm the guy that's known for making Mega Man rap. So
Mm.
so ultimately though, and when it comes down to it, you want to be known and you want to be respected and appreciated for the things that you brought to the world. And the one thing that I brought to this world, or one of the things that isn't somebody else's intellectual property, you know what I mean? Is the MegaRan language art stuff, and so that's really what I want to be most known and appreciated for.
Okay. So, MegaRan, what projects are you really excited for? Oh, well, not excited for, but what projects are you gearing up to release uh for 2015 and beyond?
2015 is going to be crazy. Man, we starting it off with a bang. The Stole Veggies album with myself and Storyville is coming out on Brick Records in February. There's going to be a full-length album, myself and Storyville doing the rapping and the beats, and videos are going to be crazy. We're working on a bunch of silly stuff. The first promo video is out now. It's called Mommy What's a Soul Veggie, and we're just working on a lot of crazy stuff for it, man. I can't wait. Like it's gonna be so good. But as usual, I haven't planned much outside of that, and that's usually how my year starts, where I'm like, I'm just working on one thing, and then I get these other ideas throughout the course of the year, and then they just wind up coming out. So I'm sure there'll be another game project. There might even be another trap project. I'm still working on my official solo album. Which the Joel Emers song will be on and some other things. I don't know when it'll come out, but I'm still working. I record every week, so it's just me. As long as I have inspiration and ideas, I'll keep knocking them out. But right now though, it's all about this Soul Veggies album. Like I'm super excited. This has been like, I would say 2 years in the making, but it's really more like 10 years in the making because me and Storyville have been working together for 10 years. So it's just a thing that people have always said to us, like, man, y'all need to do an album together. And we're like, yeah, we should do that. And then we go on about our lives. This guy, he lives in Boston now. He's a top flight studio engineer. Me, I'm traveling all over the world doing silly rap songs about the games. So we've been busy. So now we finally worked it out. We got the time in, and it got the thing all ready to go. It's been mixed and mastered by this award-winning engineer, Chris Athens. Like
Mm.
videos are coming from Mark Cardoza, who did the documentary, as well as LJ Beats, who's done a bunch of great stuff for me. He did the Force Pull video.
Oh
So
yeah.
so yeah, man, like a lot of cool stuff is coming. Soul Veggies. So just keep an eye out for Soul Veggies. You can add us on the Facebook and just be ready because we're about to hit you pretty hard with this stuff. So just be ready.
All right. Well, MegaRan, I'm running out of questions.
Well,
'Cause-
you've been giving me some great ones though.
um, you know, but I think since I asked you about what projects that you are putting out before we go, what games are you looking forward to in 2015, and you know, If you got any shout outs, go ahead and shout them out.
Man, I'm looking forward to Madden 16. No, nah. But not really. Honestly, there's only one, man, and it's been the same game I've been waiting for probably since last year around this time was Evolve, and that game looks great. Watched some footage at PAX, and it looks super dope. Like so, if you're not familiar out there listening, just Google it, the Evolve game. Like it sounds like it's gonna be really great. It's like a Monster Hunter type game where one person's the monster, and then there's a team that has to try to get to the monster and capture him somehow, and you gotta like work together and stuff. And yeah, it's really dope. And so I'm really excited about that. That's really it, honestly. Like that's all I'm waiting for. I mean, Halo 5 is another big one, but that's really it. That's it. And shout outs. Let me shout out everybody, of course, in Phoenix and Philly and everywhere in between. Anybody that's supported, anybody that will be at my show in Toronto, which is this Friday night at Lee's Palace. Anybody that will be around hanging out there, I'll be there from tonight till about Saturday. Just kind of hanging out, doing stuff, playing rap songs. So big shout out to you if you're going to be in the area. Shout out to Writers Guild. Shout out to K Murdoch, who just had a baby. Shout out to Brick Records for looking out and getting down with us on this Soul Veggies album. Big shout out to everybody who's been mentioned somewhere in this interview. My school, who tried to sue me after I left. Any of my students who contact me once in a while on Facebook and tell me, hey man, like I see you doing your thing. Like I really appreciate that. All my friends, all my family, my lady, anybody that's supporting what we're doing, I appreciate you, and I will continue to try my hardest and work real hard for y'all. So thank you for listening, and keep doing the thing.
Okay. I would like to shout out you, Rand, for taking time out your busy schedule to hop on Killzone interviews, man. And this one was definitely a classic.
Well, thank you.
It's an honor to have you, man. It's a pleasure to know you and to get to be able to run out to the show and kick it with you and the Geekly Podcast guys, and it's good, in 2015. I was gonna say 14, it was 15. In 2015, to finally know, brothers like yourself and that have the same vision and same, dream and same drive. You know what I'm saying? Because it like you said, man, the party never stops. You got to keep it rolling and keep it going, and you're definitely an inspiration and a role model of mine.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem, man. And I also would like to shout out my team. Shout out to John Iro, at Real Gaming News, editor-in-chief at Real Gaming News. Shout out to B-Girl, STLHipHop.com. This video will probably pop up on there soon. And shout out to Lady Killzone, Mama Killzone, the whole Killzone clan. Shout out to all my YouTube subscribers, Facebook fans, Twitter followers, everybody in my city that Tefpo, Rockwell Knuckles, the Midwest Monsters, DJ AJ, Dirty DJ AJ, the legendary Dirty DJ AJ 618. Just shout out to everybody who supports our movement and supports MegaRan's movement, and I would like to thank you one more time before we get up out of here, Rand, for being on the show, man. You're the first interview I had for 2015.
Nice.
We started off with a bang,
All right. That's what's up, man. Appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. The pleasure is all mine. So this is your boy DJKillzownJones and MegaRan. Remember the name, or remember you lame. We out. Much love to everybody. Peace.
Yeah.